Coming up next, NPS Sports with Steve Sutmiller. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to NPS Now. I'm Steve Sutmiller, Senior Coordinator of Athletics. Today we have two special guests from Maury High School. We have Terry Zablocki, welcome.
Thank you.
And we have Hunter Main, a student at Maury High School, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, before we get into our conversation about why you're here, March is National Athletic Training Month, and we're going to celebrate that throughout the whole month. And we've had our athletic trainers on NPS Now before, but now we're bringing you on to talk a little bit about the education of an athletic trainer and how athletic training is taught in the high school. So Terry, we'll start with you then. Talk a little bit about your background and how you got involved in the Norfolk Public Schools.
Well, I was working at Old Dominion University as an athletic trainer and an instructor. So I was teaching sports medicine classes and some other classes while I was at ODU. And then there was an opportunity that came up to work in the high schools, or at Maury High School actually, and teaching in the medical specialties program that would involve sports medicine amongst other things. And I love teaching, I really do. And it was an easy entrance into going from Old Dominion to the high school where I could still teach what my profession was, which was athletic training.
Okay, so a little different than how we utilize our athletic trainers on a day-to-day basis. You're at the high school actually teaching, and your clinical skills are that's not your role right now. You are an instructor. So what courses are you teaching at Maury?
I teach an accelerated health class to the freshmen. Mm-hmm. I teach an anatomy class that we teach over at EVMS for the juniors. I teach a sports medicine class to our seniors, and then a new class this year is an emergency medical responder course that is also for the seniors. Okay. So those are 4 different classes I teach.
All right, we're talking about classes, Hunter. So what classes do you currently take in the program?
So right now I'm taking the emergency medical responders class, and then freshman year I started off with accelerated health, and then junior year I took anatomy and physiology.
Okay. So what do you like about those classes?
They're all a lot different than the other classes. It's just not the same as like an AP class. It's more application based. Mm-hmm. It's a lot more fun too.
All right, that's good to hear. All right, so Terry, talk about how these classes form, how the curriculum was formed through obviously through the medical program, that the specialty at Maury High School. But talk about the different classes a little bit.
Well,
and what's so unique about them?
The sports medicine class is designed to introduce the kids to athletic training and what an athletic trainer does, but mostly we talk about different parts of the body that get injured, how to recognize injuries, how to treat them, maybe even do rehab for the different injuries. So we'll go through the entire, everything from the ankle up to the shoulders, mm-hmm. head, chest injuries, and talk about different injuries. And then another part of the class in the later spring will include how do we splint fractures when athletes are injured, how do we bandage, take vital signs if somebody's hurt, has a head injury or anything like that.
And that's kind of grown into this new class, the EMR class.
Right. And so the athletic training, the sports medicine is for at the athletic training side. And then the EMR class is, there's I think just 2 that are in the entire state that it's taught to high school students. It's a level below the EMT, which mm-hmm. is a level below the paramedics. So it's a great introduction for the kids to especially learn skills and recognition.
Right. So Hunter, you mentioned that the classes were fun, but just how engaging are these is this class that you're in?
So the EMR class, it's got both, the written side, but it's really focused on skills, so we can put splints on, take vitals, just really everything that has to do with saving someone's life. Mm-hmm. It's just, it takes a lot of effort, but we get through it, and we're going to be able to help people afterwards, so that's good.
All right. So out of that class, what's the favorite thing you've learned so far? What's been the most interesting thing that you've got involved
Well,
with?
being put on a spine board and strapped down to that was pretty fun.
Well, it's more fun doing it. Not you don't want to be on the spine board.
I don't know.
So, but you have that. That's a good skill to have in that class. So Terry, how can any student be involved in this? Is it open to all students, or is it select?
Right now, I'm the only one that teaches the sports medicine. I'm the only one that teaches the EMR, and it's for the kids that are in the medical specialties program, and partly just because of limited numbers. So it's just for those students in the program. But it would be great if all our high schools could have a sports medicine class, so that those kids could have an opportunity to learn about athletic training.
So there's some prerequisite classes that a student would have to have prior to getting into your sports med class or the EMR class? Well,
in our case, it's for the seniors that are in the program, and they've already had anatomy from their junior year, which is a very extensive anatomy class. So they have a very good foundation before they get into either the sports medicine or the EMR class.
Okay. So taking this class, how do you see this benefiting the student when they leave?
The sports medicine class, it teaches them just recognition. It teaches them how to deal with people who are injured. Even we had the students do some observation hours with our staff athletic trainer, and they can learn things in the classroom. But then when they see them, at practices or at games, there's a different relationship that you have with an athlete on the field who was hurt and a student who's laying on the table and you're practicing. So it's really good, builds relationships, personal skills too.
Okay. So Hunter, you mentioned that you were a member of the cross-country team before. Looking back at that, and I know this is probably putting you on the spot, I mean, can you relate to anything that an athlete might go through with an injury?
I mean, there's always the chance for, spraining your ankle, and then I actually had trouble with my knee, so that wasn't fun. There's all sorts of things that could happen if you just get injured on the field, and it's good to have people there to help you out.
Okay, great. All right, so staying with you, Hunter, what's your future going to look like when you graduate from Maury High School? What do you want to major in?
So I actually want to major in computer science.
All right.
A little off the track from the medical field. So I'm going to at least get my bachelor's, maybe even a master's. We'll see.
Okay. So Terry, he's going to go into a different field, but how is being part of the medical program, the specialty program, how can that benefit Hunter?
Well, I think that with all our kids, everybody that comes in as a freshman, they're very interested in, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a pediatrician. They very much are medical oriented. But then, over 4 years, their interests change. Just because he's going into computer science doesn't mean that his background, his education, that time management, we talk about that all the time, hasn't helped him develop good study skills, good course management skills that will help him whatever his major wants to be. Okay. So they don't all go into the medical program, but they get a great education and great foundation while they're in the program.
And I think we might have touched on this, but do you think this should be something that our other high schools in the city should offer to their students?
Absolutely. If there was an opportunity that the schools had a certified athletic trainer in the school and that could teach a sports medicine class, the students, I can guarantee that those classes would be filled. The athletes alone, my students, the athletes want to know what's happened to them. They've had this injury they can talk about, and they like to learn about their particular sports. Sure. And what can go wrong.
And it's been a benefit having your students come in and do some observation with Matt Talley, the athletic trainer at Maury High School. So that's been a benefit. So Hunter, you have some friends that are probably sophomores and juniors. How do you kind of promote her class for?
Well, first of all, it's a lot of fun. It'll definitely bring change to your harsh days of senior year. And it feels like we're actually learning something useful. Like, you don't see a lot of the benefits at school when you're in other classes, with the med program classes, you know that it's actually going to change something in the future.
Very good. Excellent. We want to thank you for being here today. Continued success at Maury High School. Continued success in all your classes and in the future. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
More NPS Now after this.